that's not possible. So that's kind of where we're going. Rabbi?
William, if I tell you that I'm trying to think of an analogy that's halfway suitable or decent, because most of my analogies kind of run out after a couple seconds. But if you were supposed to be the next Mickey Mantle, okay, that dates me. Okay, if you're supposed to be the next Tom Brady, okay, and you show up at a football stadium and you don't even pick up the ball and throw it, am I allowed to say, well, you'll be the next Tom Brady next time? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In other words, as soon as they say there has to be or there will be a second coming, the immediate question is, if he didn't do it the first time, why should we believe in him now?
Right.
We have absolutely no reason whatsoever to believe that Jesus was the Messiah, because all those things that go into being the Messiah, he didn't do.
Right.
So let's be clear on some things at the outset, okay? And let's say it's Sunday afternoon, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're sitting reading a newspaper, and half the lights in your house go out, and you click the little button, you know, and can't get the light to go back on. Okay, you go to the wall and you click the wall switch. Nothing happens. You go outside to the box, the switch breaker box, and none of the breakers are broken. They're not switched. So you come back in and you go to the telephone and you call. Who do you call? Ghostbusters. No, who do you call?
I was going to say the same thing.
Couldn't resist. You call an electrician.
Yep.
So half an hour later, there's a knock at the door. You open the door, and breezing past you with pipes and wrenches in his arms, a guy comes in and says, I'm the electrician. You know, is it a toilet that's a problem? And you look at him funny and you say, I don't have a problem with the toilets. I have an electrical problem. He says, I know, I'm the electrician. Is it a faucet then if it's not a toilet? And you look at him like he's really crazy and you say, the problem is electrical. That's what the word electrician means. Someone who deals with electricity. And he goes to every single faucet, but there's nothing wrong with the faucets. He goes to every toilet, but there's nothing wrong with the toilets. And then he leaves. In other words, from before he came and then till after he came, nothing in your house has changed. 10 minutes after he leaves, there's another knock on the door, and it's your next door neighbor. And your next door neighbor says, hey, I just saw Bill the electrician. Isn't he wonderful? And you say, what do you mean? He's not an electrician. He didn't do a thing. And he goes, no, you don't understand. An electrician is somebody who fixes the plumbing. And you say, that's nonsense. The word electricity is found inside the word electrician. And you start getting into an argument with your next door neighbor about Bill the electrician. And he finally says, look, you have a veil over your mind that prevents you from seeing the truth that Bill was a great electrician.
Mm-hmm.
Someday he's going to come back and he's going to fix all the electrical problems that are wrong with your house. But until then, you need to believe that he was a great electrician.
Yeah.
And the argument with your next door neighbor goes on for, I don't know, about 2,023 years, give or take. That's what they do to us.
Yeah.
The word Messiah is an English English, whatever the word is, variation of a Hebrew word, which is the language of the Jewish people, about a Jewish man who comes to the Jewish people, and through coming to the Jewish people, he comes to the rest of the world. What he does is defined in the Hebrew scriptures as understood by the rabbis, the Jewish leaders of the Jewish people. The word Messiah is our word. No one has the right to come along and tell us that we've got the wrong meaning for our word, that is, we invented. And then to come and tell us that even though the world has not changed from before Jesus came to after he came, that we don't understand our own scriptures, we don't understand our own concept, we don't understand our own vocabulary terminology, but they have it right. And most of the people trying to tell us this don't know an aleph from a bet. They don't know one Hebrew letter from another.
Right.
Okay, so let's be very clear that this is something that's ours. We invented it, and they don't have a right to tell us that we got the wrong definition, unless, of course, they want to say that electricians fix the plumbing. Electricians don't fix the plumbing, and what the Messiah is supposed to do when the real Messiah comes hasn't been done by anybody, much less a Jesus. And as soon as they say second coming, well, look, every single person on planet Earth, okay, every Jew on planet Earth, I'd say most Christians too, know that the Messiah is supposed to bring peace. Now, that's not the reason why we reject Jesus as the Messiah, okay? But let's go with it, okay? They'll say, oh, well, the Messiah never brought peace. Second coming. Oh, the Messiah is supposed to have destroying the instruments of war, and it'll take up to 7 years to get it done. Second coming. Oh, all of the fruit in Israel, the fruit trees in Israel are supposed to give off their fruit monthly as opposed to seasonally. Second coming. Every single thing in the laundry list of things that the real Messiah will do when the real Messiah comes have not been done. And when we bring this up, their complete response is second coming.
Yep, right.
But the question is if until somebody does what they're supposed to do to be who they supposedly are, why should we believe that they are who they say they are, or who other people say they were? We have no reason to believe it, no reason to accept it. Now, real quickly here, okay, there are two definitions. Jews and Christians use the same word, but we mean different things when we use those words, okay, for the word Messiah. The foundational beliefs of Christianity that make up their understanding of what they think their Messiah, their definition of the word Messiah is supposed to do, is inherently unbiblical at its base. So there are two aspects of the coming of the Messiah, which they say Jesus did one aspect, but still has all the other aspects to do to be, in the second coming. But if we cannot accept as biblical the things that they say Jesus did do, all we are left with, all we have to be left with, all that we can trust to be left with, are the things that the real Messiah will do when the real Messiah comes. He didn't do any of them. Therefore, we have no reason whatsoever to accept Jesus as the Messiah. As a matter of fact, because the basis, the foundational beliefs that make up what they say Jesus did do, since we find unbiblical, we are required to reject Christianity. We are required to reject Jesus as the Messiah. So they say, William, people knock on my door. They don't do it nearly as often as I wish they did, because frankly, it's fun. But they knock on my door. They want to convert me. I invite them in. I'm very, very nice, warm, accepting, bring them in, whatever. They always have a memorized speech, okay? Their memorized speech usually includes crying on cue, okay? Like they practiced it 1,000 times because you never hear them go, like I talk. So they're giving a memorized speech, okay? They're witnessing. When they are done you've heard me say this before, when their yo-yo runs out. So the yo-yo starts out energetic and finally finishes up. Okay. I ask them, do you have a Bible? Because I want to use their translation, not mine. And they almost always have a Bible. And I open it up to a specific verse, but I ask them before I do anything with that verse, I say, tell me exactly what Jesus did for you. They have to say, he died for my sins.
Exactly right.
Then I turn the Bible around so they can read it, facing them. I say, would you please read aloud Deuteronomy 24:16. Deuteronomy 24:16. No man shall be put to death for the sins of his child. No child will be put to death for the sins of his parents. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Ish bechet o yumatu. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.